Hello everybody. How are you doing? It is a miserably gray, drizzly, cold day here in Central Mass, but I'm inside. I just put on some slippers and made myself a cappuccino and I already feel better. I have a very good friend. Her name is Heidi. You may know her as Restyle Secrets. She's been a bit of a mentor for me through these years as a reseller, and she's an incredible friend. And she has a way with words, and she has a way of getting information out of people like nobody else I've ever met before. And she decided to get together some of our reseller friends and do a little collaboration Q&A video. I've looked at these questions really quickly, but I have not prepared anything. But it's not just me who's doing this collaboration. There are some other incredible folks, so I'm going to name everybody. Heidi is Restyle Secrets. She's the ringleader. Keegan, known as the Teen Reseller. My friend Veronica and Elena, Amber Resales, and Kay from Passports and Pizza Pies. We are all answering the same questions. I will link all of their wonderful channels in my description. I always find it really fascinating to see how people take a different approach to reselling. And by asking a group of people the same questions, we will undoubtedly get a lot of different answers. Feel free to elaborate on any topic, tell stories, etc., or just rip right through it. Let's dig in. The very first question that Heidi asks is one that I consider all the time when I'm shopping. I call them my pillars of thrifting. So before I buy something, I look at the 3 C's: cost, condition, comps, so what they're selling for, and then I look at style and brand. Those are my 5 pillars. I say as a reseller, you're always sacrificing something unless you get what I call a home run, and it checks all those boxes, and it's like the most fabulous designer piece that you pick up for 50 cents at a yard sale, fresh off the runway, and it sells for $4,000. Home run. But we're usually compromising. So her question is, consider brand, condition, style, cost, and comps. Which do you care the most about? She always gets me with these hard questions. I feel like I need a sip to answer this. I guess I could put it in an order. Ooh, I don't know. I'm failing the questions and it's the first one. Okay, I'm gonna say brand and style first because that's what's gonna attract me to a piece. Then once I see the brand and the style, I need to see what kind of condition it's in, look at the comps, see how much it cost, and go from there. But I think I am drawn to pieces based on their style and the brand. So here's a good example. Last week I was at Goodwill and I saw a Double D Ranch shirt. I liked the style of it first. It had a lot of embroidery on it, so I was attracted to that. I didn't recognize the brand at first glance because I did not have these with me. I took a picture of it and then I Google Lensed it and I saw there was a D in the center of a circle. Still didn't put 2 and 2 together, but when I Google Lensed it, it came up that it was Double D Ranch, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a good brand. Once I established that I liked the style and it was an incredible brand, then I kind of started doing my research. There was a stain on it. Condition wasn't in the best condition, but the comps were so high that that kind of trumped the condition, and I was able to get, I would say 75% of this little looked like a spaghetti sauce stain out of it. So it's really, really faint. And to boot, the cost was really inexpensive. Because of the stain, I showed it to the sales associate and they took 50% off. So it cost me $2.50. So I'm drawn to the style and the brand, and then I kind of look at the other stuff after. Okay, it took me a while to get there, but that's my final answer. Okay, and her second question is, consider brand, condition, style, cost, and comps. Which do you care the least about? If I'm being honest with myself, it's not that I care the least about it, but I'm probably the most negligent on comps. Because if I look at something and I think it's beautiful and I think I can sell it here on YouTube or on a whatnot show, or I just think the style is fantastic, given my experience as a reseller and I know the brands that sell, sometimes I look at comps at the end, which I wouldn't recommend, especially if you're just getting started. Comps will always be very important. I don't care the least about the comps, but I feel like I look up the comps towards the end of the process. Because usually if I'm looking at a garment, it's either got me on style or brand, or maybe it's like alpaca wool, you know, I love that. If it's a fabric like linen, then I'll look up the brand, and then I kind of look at comps towards the end. So maybe that's my answer for that, comps, final answer. Number 3, where do you go first when you enter a thrift store? I'm gonna say it depends on the thrift store, but there's a thrift store that I go to all the time, my local Savers. I typically look at the sweaters first because they're right there and I like to pick up sweaters. To the left is hard goods, so I don't go over there, but I quickly make my way to shoes in most thrift stores because I just feel like Shoes are a quick way to assess what the rest of the thrift store might be looking like that day. Not always, but if I walk down the shoe aisle, I can get kind of a feel if everything seems picked over, if the colors that I'm seeing, like the color of the week, if they're old colors, if I'm seeing a lot of the new colors that are out. Sometimes I assess that way, even if I'm not in the market for shoes, but I can go through shoes really quickly. And then I go over to sweaters often, because I personally like sweaters. I tend to not spend a lot of time in just like blouses, like tops, because I feel like at Savers, they're pricing their tops sometimes at like $7.99. And on average, my tops sell for between like $20 and $30 for like a blouse. In sweaters, I feel like I can get north of $30 often, but I think that shoes give you a good window into a store, and you can peruse them really quickly. That same store where I got the Double D Ranch, when you first walk in, they have belts and purses like right when you enter, and I always end up spending time there. They have belts, hats, purses, scarves, and they're just right there, and they're accessories, and they're pretty easy to look through. So when I go to that particular Goodwill, that's what I go for first. But my Savers, I make my way to the shoes pretty quickly. Number 4, name a department you never go to. I have to think about this one. I don't know that there's something I never go to. I don't spend a lot of time in kids. Sometimes I'll look at like coats in kids, things that parents are always looking as kids grow out of. So like I'll look at boots, I'll look at jackets, but I don't spend a lot of time like in the infant section looking at onesies. We'll say that. I don't spend a lot of time in the kids, like in the baby department, unless I have a friend who's having a baby, and then I'll go there. I don't spend a lot of time on linens, but I do look at blankets. Sometimes I'll grab an Afghan if it's really interesting. Sheets and blankets, like that section. Curtains, tablecloths, that's not really my jam. I can't remember the last time I looked at that section. These are so interesting. Here's a good question. When do you inspect? As you go or all at once? Are comps better or worse when you get home? That varies depending on the piece. I feel like sometimes when I'm in the store, if I'm excited about a piece, I will look through the comps and make exceptions, like, oh, well, maybe they just listed that low, or I'll look on eBay and say, oh, well, that was an auction, so that went low. But if I really like a piece, I can convince myself to take it home, even if the comps aren't great. And then sometimes I get home and comps are fantastic. I keep referencing this one video because it's fresh on my mind, but I found a Frank and Eileen New With Tag shirt. I knew it was a good brand, and it was new with tags, so I knew that was great. And in my video, when I came home and did the haul, I said, I think I'll probably get around $50 for this. And then I looked at comps, and sold comps were for the new with tag shirt that I had between $100 and $140, $150. People were listing this shirt for $195. I have it listed at $178 or $179 because it's on the Frank and Eileen website. It's on Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus for $278. It's on the current website. So that was a case where I got home and I was blown away by the comps, but I feel like typically I get home and the comps are a little bit more modest than I thought they were in store, because I'm always rushing in store and my Savers has no reception, so it's painful to look up comps at that store. And as far as when I check them, typically when I'm thrifting, I am doing a thrift with me. So I'm kind of filming a little bit. I have a lot going on in my mind, and I used to check comps as I went and check condition and all that stuff. But as I've gotten a little bit more seasoned with filming in store, I just gather as much as I can, and I try to get a little bit of a cart full, and then I'll go over to a quiet section of the store and I'll go through stuff and I'll sort, and the things that I'm gonna take with me, I take, and the other things I put back, and then I kind of start the process over again. So I would say that I find a section of the store where I have reception or where there's good lighting so I can look at flaws, check out comps, that sort of thing, and then kind of regroup and head back out into the wild. This is a question I've never thought of. In 3 months, how many different thrift stores will you visit? In 3 months' time? Well, I always hit the bins in a 3-month span. I try to get to the bins once every 6 weeks. I try to go once every month, but realistically once every 6 weeks. So I'll go to the Goodwill outlet, and attached to most Goodwill outlets is a regular Goodwill. So that'll be 2 separate stops. I like to go into Boston with my girlfriend Kim in a 3-month span. Usually when we hit Boston, we'll hit at least 2 stores outside of the bins. So I'm gonna say 4. I always go to my Savers. That's a monthly thing, that's 5. There is a Goodwill this month that I've been to twice, and it's been kind of hot. So I bop around. Like, I feel like sometimes I'll get excited about one location, I'll keep going back to it. And then I'll reach a point where I'm like, okay, I need a change of scenery. And then I'll kind of be on repeat in a different location location. And there's usually something random, so we'll say 7. I'm gonna say on average about 7 different thrift stores in a 3-month span. That's a lot. I feel like I thrift a lot less lately. But now that I'm not doing my Slow Fashion Friday and my clear outs every single week, I find that I'm thrifting a little bit more. And then once the weather gets nicer, I usually incorporate like yard sales, estate sales. There are a couple church rummage sales that I always look forward to in the spring and the fall in my area. And those all get put into the rotation. And in those cases, I may be going to the thrift stores a little bit less. But yeah, I would say 6 to 8 every 3 months. This question I did look at and I don't know what my answer is. Which bothers you more, getting a return or not being able to find an item you just sold? Again, this is situational. I get really, 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 really angry when people make false claims on a return. I actually just got notification from eBay that I am now below standards because of one negative comment that was last March, because I've had so many things that were out of stock and because I don't answer questions regularly. This is the first time ever. I've been on eBay for over 20 years. I think I might call them and just have a conversation. Even if you look at my rating, I'm like 4.9 out of 5, something like that, but I think I'm still below standards. I get really frustrated when I can't find something, and you know that's been my Achilles heel for a while, but I feel like we're making a lot of progress, but I just had an incident last week where I couldn't find something. The woman whose estate I bought like 5 bags, and they were mostly Talbots in Coldwater Creek and LL Bean stuff. I think she had 6 cream colored fleece zip ups. Some were Talbots, some were LL Bean, but they were all the same style, just a cream colored full zip size medium. We had multiples of certain brands and we had sold them all, and there was one that was still listed on eBay. I messed up somewhere and I didn't have that one last cream colored. I guess when I can't find something, I get really upset. But I will say that a liar return boils my blood. I get mad at myself when I can't find something. But when I feel like somebody's lied on eBay and I know that eBay is gonna side with my seller, I see stars, I get so angry. I guess they both really piss me off. When was the last time you went to the mall? That is funny. Funny enough, I feel like I went recently. Why did I go recently? I think it was raining and I'm officially old, so my husband and I walked the mall like old people do. And it was really fun. And I think we grabbed a bite to eat too. But I'm fascinated by the mall because now our mall, like our local mall, is so sad. Stores are closing. It's just so empty. It's sad. But if I go to the Natick collection, that's like the bigger mall that has the more high-end stores. That still is pretty busy. So that mall's kind of fun to go to. We were contemplating going to the mall today. My husband said, do you want to meet in Natick? Because we're going to do Easter basket shopping. But we opted to go to Target and go to a local restaurant for dinner. So I would say within the past month, I've been to the mall. But I used to be a mall girl. My mother-in-law loved to shop, so we would go shopping together all the time when the kids were little. I never thought I would see the day where I just very, very rarely went to the mall. Between online shopping and thrifting, I'm barely ever at the mall. Number 11 is, what is your source for what's trending in fashion? This is a great question. YouTube is like 100% my source. If I'm feeling really motivated, I will actually watch runway shows. I like to do that first before I watch any other trend videos, and I will take notes. So I will watch Gucci and Dior, Chloe, whatever the show is, I will watch it and I will take notes on what's popping out at me, like a style that I'm seeing over and over, and I'll write it down. Then I'll go to another video from another brand and I'll watch it and I'll see what's on the runway and I'll write it down. Then I will go to one of the big like blogger fashion type of trend videos. I see what they have to say. And then I see if anything that they say correlates with the notes that I took. Because I feel like the people who do trend videos know a lot more about trends than I do, because I'm always getting the fashion, you know, seasons later at thrift stores. And usually they're giving a list of like what's trending. In fact, I'm researching right now for what's trending, and I have part of my list done, but I feel like I need to do a little bit more research because I want to have 5 trending items that I'm looking for, and I have 3 out of the 5, and then there are a few that I'm wishy-washy about, so I want to watch a few more videos. So I will watch 5, 6 videos. I watch them in double time, like I speed through them, or I just like click through, like if they have chapters, I'll go through really quickly. You can almost find anything trending on some website. So I try to think of my audience. I think of what I have access to. I think of what appeals to me. Like one of the trends this season is ballet flats, but not just ballet flats, the ballet flat Mary Jane style. I'll be talking about that in my next video. I happen to really think that's a cute style, so that's something I'm looking for. In my last video about trends I'm leaving behind, I stated that I'm leaving behind heels. I'm sure somewhere heels are in style, but for me, that is a trend that I don't have a ton of success with, or that I'm not passionate about, so I'm tapping the brakes on that. Maybe once I sell through a lot of the heels that I have, I'll be looking at them again. Ironically, as soon as I put that video out, I think I sold 3 pairs of heels within 2 weeks, which I thought was kind of funny. I look at YouTube videos and I kind of narrow it down to what I'm passionate about, what I want to give some airtime to, things that I think my viewers will be excited to look for at the thrift stores, things that we're likely to find at thrift stores. And I also like to translate what I see on the runway to like what would be like a ready-to-wear style. Sometimes you're looking at wacky things on the runway, but if you can pull from the creativity of what you see on the runway, you can then extrapolate what you would want as a thrifter, or like what you would wear everyday style. Number 12 is, which category would you never give up? Never. I think it's a close one between shoes and sweaters. Shoes, because there can be just such a great return on shoes. I don't like shipping shoes. I mean, Tina does most of my shipping, but like in general, sometimes if I sell like a bulky pair of boots, the first thing I think of is, do I have a box for that? You know, it's like where my brain goes. But you just get such a good return on shoes. Some shoes can sell for $40, $50 very easily. So shoes tend to be a really good return on investment. And I just personally like sweaters. I think sweaters can come in all different shapes and sizes. Obviously, like you have your cardigan sweaters, you have your big chunky wool sweaters. I love finding Irish knit sweaters from made in Ireland. Those are always a good flip. Again, the last time I was at Goodwill, I found a Quince 100% cashmere sweater, and it sold for full asking price, I think $48. And so sweaters can just be fun, and you can find really interesting fabric in your sweaters. Some of my best flips, like when I found the brand, was it Baba, made in Spain. I paid like $5 for this sweater, and I had no idea that it was this like really incredible brand that happened to be very hot at the time, and it sold for over $200 a sweater. So I really like sweaters. I do like sweaters, and I wear a lot of sweaters. What job or activity in your past best prepared you for reselling? That's a great question too. Well, I was a school teacher. I have my master's in special ed, my undergrad in special ed. I double majored as an undergrad, special ed and psychology, and then master's degree in special ed with a certificate in behavior management, behavior modification. So I definitely think that being on YouTube, like sharing information, was a natural transition for me. I also sold creative memories, scrapbook stuff, for a very long time, and I used to have to like do demonstrations and get up in front of people, and then I always thought teaching helped me with that as well. Plus we were doing scrapbook layouts, and it always felt like little mini bulletin boards to me. I have often said that everything I've done in my life career-wise has led me to where I am. When we first moved home, we lived in San Francisco, and I got pregnant with Anthony. I sold Mary Kay. And I had all this Mary Kay I had accumulated while I was a sales rep out in San Francisco. And we were moving home, we were having a baby. I wasn't planning on selling it anymore. And eBay was pretty new on the scene. And I listed all of my Mary Kay. We did one big giant lot, and I think it sold for like either $400 or $700. I just sold it all. And I remember like we had to wait for a check to clear on eBay. It was crazy. And then when we moved home, I was always a bit of a hustler. I remember when we moved from the house we were in prior to the one we're in now, we've been here for 18 years, but we had been in that house for a short amount of time, and we invested in one of those rainbow swing sets, the really like elaborate one. We didn't have a lot of money at the time, and we spent over $1,000 on this playground. And I thought, well, what if the people who buy the house don't have a kid or whatever? Like, we could sell that and make some really good money. So we put an ad on Craigslist, and this guy came with a truck, and he disassembled the entire thing. We sold it for $900. The guy was like our friend. By the end of the day, I made sauce and meatballs. We had like rigatoni with this guy. He ate lunch with us because he was there all day disassembling this thing and putting it in a U-Haul. Every time I wanted something, I would be like, well, how can I get that? Like, what can I sell to get that? So I was always a bit of a hustler. But I do think teaching overall for YouTube and then all the sales stuff for reselling. Number 14 is, what is a fast sale? I think this is different for everybody. I say anything that sells in less than a month is fast, I think. I mean, you have the things that sell like day of. I had these vintage bra and underwear sets that I bought in a bag for $5. I got like an entire bag. It was like $5.99 or something. Everything was new in tag, and they all looked to be like bras and underwear from like the 90s. Some of them had like Jordan Marsh tags on them. If you're from around here, you'll know Jordan Marsh. The prices on them were like $1.59. Maybe they were from like the 80s, honestly, but all the elastic was intact, which makes me think they were more current. Anyway, we listed the first set, bra and underwear. I listed it for $45 the very next day. I got a $30 offer. I accepted it. I'm like, whoa, that sold really fast. Maybe this next round, I won't offer so little so fast. So then I had 2 other sets. I listed one for $45. It sold for full price within 24 hours. I was like, what the heck? The third set I listed for $55 and it's still there. So it's been listed for weeks. Those are more like lightning sales, but I think if something sells in under a month, that's kind of a fast sale. But you're also talking to someone who has things from 2018 in my closet that I have yet to delist and relist, which I'm also working on. But I am not afraid of a long sale. Okay, so the next question is, what is a slow sale? I would consider something a slow sale that is in my closet from August of 2018 when I started my business. And there are quite a few of those pieces still there from 2018, although as Tina and I are going through the bins, we are creating a pile. So we're either delisting and relisting, selling it on Whatnot, donating it. We're finding things in the bins that aren't even listed. They're just folded and put into inventory. So I would say a slow sale is anything that takes more than a year. I guess 6 months. 6 months or more is a slow sale, but even 6 months I'm pretty patient with. Number 16, if you had to give up selling clothes, what hard good category do you know the most about to start reselling? Or if none, what category do you want to learn about? I would have to say American Girl dolls because I worked there. I have an absurd collection. I feel like that's been my top selling category brand for like the past 6 months. I have so many pieces that I'm selling. We used to have these incredible employee sales. We would buy dolls for $15. We would get outfits for $1. I won Kit's Treehouse in a raffle. I paid $2. I came home with the treehouse. Like, I have so much stuff and I just could never not go crazy at these sales. So I have so much American Girl stuff and so much American Girl knowledge that I would probably lean right into that. But as far as hard goods that I just enjoy, I guess I like collectibles. I tend to always go down the wood aisle. Like I like wooden bowls or I like pottery. I don't know if it sells for a lot. I'm just interested in that. Like this lamp in back of me, I got at an estate sale and it had like an artist mark on the bottom. This is probably 4 years old. Calm down. Do you see Daddy? I think my husband's parked at the bottom of the hill. I think he must be doing a call. So he's, oh my gosh. Lumps, shush. Okay, lightning round. These I have to answer quick. This is gonna be the real challenge for me. Fast nickel or slow dime? Most of the time, fast nickel. Sometimes I'll offer some decent offers to likers right out of the gate just to move something quickly. But if it's something I'm really passionate about and I feel like I could get more for it, I'll hold on. Really depends on the item. I'm sorry, it depends. But I mean, typically fast nickel. Bargain hunt or pay up? Bargain hunt, but I'm not afraid to pay up, but my instinct obviously is to bargain hunt. But as I've progressed in this, I realize that time is precious and I'm not gonna like get really upset over having to pay up for something that's quality rather than waste my time like digging and digging and digging. This is not rapid at all. I'm not rapid. Never sell shoes or never sell purses. I guess purses. Yeah, purses. That one was easy. Take photos or write listings. Write listings. Tina does all my photos. I miss taking photos. I miss the artistry that I used to put into the photos and just kind of putting my own little flair. But as a practical matter, I do listings. I like to do the research. So I feel like research and listing goes hand in hand. Clean shoes or sew on a button? Clean shoes. I don't know why, because sometimes clean shoes are a lot of work, but I feel like cleaning shoes can be super gratifying. And I've cleaned way more shoes than I've sewed buttons. Yeah, that's a silly answer, but that's my answer. Sell only men's or sell only hard goods? Only men's. Breakables stress me out. Only thrift stores or only bins? Ooh. Oh, recently only thrift stores. Bins, I feel like I'm getting too old for the bins. I love the bins, but I can only do it every so often. So if I had to only pick one, thrift stores. Only eBay or only Poshmark? Oh my gosh, 2 years ago, this would have been so easy. And if I didn't just get my seller status knocked down, I would really seriously consider eBay, but Poshmark is just too easy. In February, I would have said eBay because I literally thought Poshmark had just died. But we're back in business this month and I'm feeling better about it. If I had to answer this over like a 20-year span, if I had to put my money on a company, I would go eBay because Poshmark makes me very nervous. I don't know if Poshmark's even gonna be here in 5 years. I mean, I think it is. It's just volatile to me, where eBay is consistently a pain in my butt, but they're consistent. Give up reselling or give up YouTube? Reselling. Is that awful? I love you guys. I love coming here on YouTube and talking with you guys. Reselling is a real lot of work and I love it. But I feel like long term, I would still want to share my stories with you. And as you know, I started my pen channel. There was a time where I was doing like lifestyle stuff here. So I feel like I can do a lot with YouTube without even leaving my home. And I can share different parts of my life and things that I'm interested in, where reselling is much more narrow focused. I will probably always thrift. I will always have my hands in reselling, but to the degree that I do it now, I can see myself in 5 years, you know, weaning off a little of reselling, just doing like the fun thrift hauls, but not even like obsessing so much about the reselling part of it. I think my heart is with YouTube and reselling, but if I had to pick, I might pick YouTube. Heidi's questions never disappoint. I am so excited to see what everybody else had to say. Sorry if I was super long-winded. I feel like other people are gonna do this way faster. Heidi, Keegan, Veronica, Alana, Amber, and Kay. I will link all of their YouTube channels in the description. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be back soon with another video, and be sure to subscribe to the channels of the other people who are listed in this collaboration. I'm so excited to see what they have in store for their answers, and happy Easter to everybody who celebrates. Take care. Bye-bye.